Hello, I'm Jagan from Grow with Data. Welcome to the Crack SQL Interview in 50 question series. In this video series, we will practice 50 SQL questions across various topics. You can use the playlist Crack SQL Interview in 50 questions to follow the videos related to this series. For each video in this series, you can find the related code on my GitHub. Feel free to explore the code and provide any feedback in the comment section. If you go to the YouTube channel for Grow with Data, you can see the playlist and you can see the Crack SQL Interviews playlist group. When you click on that, you will see all the videos related to that series. And if you want to see the code, you can just go to the comment section and there is a code part where if you click on it, it will take you to the create script and all the select statements we use for this exercise. Okay, now this is the 12th video of this series and we are going to continue with the basic joins here. We are going to connect 3 different tables and we are going to talk about how to get the students and how many exams they took on each subject. Okay, so we have a students table and then we have subjects table and we have a examinations table. So students table got student ID and the name of the student. The subject got all the subjects available in that college, and the examinations, it gives which student took which exam and how many times. If you see, the student 1 did a math exam thrice and the physics exam 2 times. So how will you connect this? First we create the table. Okay, so how will you connect this and you see how many students did take the exams of every subject, right? So if you see the sample data, we have the student ID and the student name. We have 4 students and we have 3 subjects overall. So every student will be connected to 3 subjects. So if you see Alice will have math, physics and programming, and Bob will have the same 3 programmings, right? So every student will be assigned to all the subjects. And for every subject, the student can take 0 or more times. He can take the exams, 0 times, he don't have to take the exam, or he can take 1 or more than 1 time the same subject. So Alice got math thrice and physics took twice and then the programming took 1 time. And for Bob, he took math once and the programming once. And for John, the employee ID is 6 and John don't have any exams assigned. Means he got the subjects but he haven't took any of the exams. And if you see Alex took all the 3 subjects once. Okay, so 13 is the employee ID, 2 is the employee ID, 1 is the employee ID. So you connect student with the all the subjects, one to many, right? One student take all the subjects, and for all the student and subject we have to see how many times they took the exam. So the expected output is going to be, we have the student ID, the student name and the subject, how many attempts they made the exam. So Alice, it took math 3 times, physics 2 times and the programming once. And if you see Bob took math and programming, right? So Bob took math and programming. So if you don't took that exam for the subject, then you have to put at 0. And Alice never took any of the exams, so all the 3 subjects have 0 attempts. And John took all the exam once, right? So this is what the expected output is. So we can approach this question in 2 steps. First one is, we have to find for all the students, how will you connect with all the subjects? So Alice has to go 3 times, Bob has to go 3 times, John and Alex also has to go 3 times with the subjects, right? How will you do that? So we talked about left join, we talked about right join, inner join, right? There's one more join we are going to talk about is full join. Full join is nothing but you take one record from the table that will go along with all the records in the second table. So how will you start with? So we have the tables from students table, say st inner join subjects su. So normally when you connect with two tables, you have to see which one is the connector, right? Which one is the column which connects. For student ID and for the exam, student ID and the subject is the connecting point. For this student, for this subject, how many times he went, right? But for student and the subject, there is no connecting part. So what you do, you just leave the connection as such. Okay, so we just say st dot student id, st dot the student name, and then we are going to bring in the subject name from the subjects table. So subjects dot subject name. So when you run this without any join, what happens? The student ID and student name from the students table will connect with all the records in the subjects table. So Alice is one record in students table. It connects with all the three records in the subjects table. So the standard way of doing it is on 1 equal to 1. So in that way, you just make sure you have an on condition, right? So most of the database will run without the on condition, but just for the standard coding standard, you can just have 1 equal to 1, which says all the records got connected. So this is a full join. So we normally say full join like this. Some database will have that join work, but MySQL don't accept the full join. So we just say inner join, and then we don't give any column connected to it. So in that way, it creates the full join, one record to all the records in the other table. Okay. So with this join, we did this part. For all the students, we connect with all the subjects. Now we have to go with the exams table and then see how many times they took the exam for every subject. You can just use that as a CTE table, or you can just have another join, and you have to decide whether it's an inner join or a left join. So if you see this, if they haven't took the exam for that subject, we have to show us 0. For that, we have to go for the left join. So examinations ex on. So how will you connect the exams with the student and the subject? So we have the student ID equal to st got the student ID, and we have the subject also. So ex dot subject name equal to the subjects table got the subject name, right? So what we did, we just did a full join between the students table and the subject table, and we created this data set, and then with this data set we use the student ID and the subject, we connect with student ID and subject with the exams table, right? Now we have to know how many times they took the exam, right? So we simply say count of, if you say count star as total records, so it don't give you the how many times they took the exam. Okay, now we have to have the exact column, which one to use. We can use ex dot student ID as, what is this, attempted exams. I can show you what the difference between the count star and the column you specify from the left join table. Since we use aggregation, we simply say group by. You can just give the 3 columns as such like this, or you can give 1, 2 and 3. Okay, so the column name becomes too big. Let's do one thing, we can take the student name out, so we have some space to see the data. Okay. So now we got the student ID and the program and then the records. If you see the total records, this one, right? So student 2 got the subject physics, but it never took the exam. But when you say count star, it will just get the count of records. The record already exists, but only thing is there is no record from the exams table, right? So whenever you use count star, it will take the count of records for that primary table records. So we have the record for 2 physics, so you will just consider that as 1. But when you say whether any record exists in the exams table, that will give you the attempts for the that student, right? So we have to make sure whether you have to use the star or the column name based on the need. So when you run this, so you got the student, what are the subjects they took and how many times they took. So for code simplicity, I can just say 1, 2 and 3 and then order by student and then the subject. Okay. When you run it, you have a standard can't group attempt exam. Oh, okay, you have only 2. Okay. So you have the student ID, the subject, and then how many times they took the exam. So 3, 2, 1, and the physics is 0, and the number 6 got no exams done, and then it goes with the student 13 who took exam once, right? So if you do a group by 3, what happens is this is student ID is 1, subject name is twice, and the count star is thrice, the third column, right? So you can't do aggregation on an aggregated column. So that's why we just got the error before. So we just say 1 and 2. If you want to bring in the student name, then you can say 1, 2 and 3. So the key takeaway is how you create a full join, right? Without the condition, you can just do it. For namesake, you can just put 1 equal to 1, and what defines a left join or an inner join. Since we have to show all the subjects irrespective of whether they took the exam or not, right? So that defines a left join, and then how many columns you are grouping. So non-aggregated columns you have to define, and then how to use the count, whether use a count star or the count of columns from the secondary table, the column used as a left join, right? So all this defines this output. Hope is a simple SQL and you understand it. Thank you for watching. Bye.